Good morning. Today we are going to do our notes through this video. So our objective today is to order integers. Pretty easy. If you ever need to pause the video to be able to type this on your own notes, feel free to. But our objective today is to order integers. We're going to put them in order. Why are we going to do this? Great question. So here's where we answer that. Understanding integers is useful in real-life situations, such as when we are trying to understand time, when we are trying to understand temperature, and when we are trying to understand money. Yes, it is important to understand this for money. That's where most of you guys will focus there, the money. Temperature is good. Time, also helpful. So our vocabulary, well, first we need to remember what an integer is. And we've been talking a little bit about integers throughout this time here. So integers are, we'll go with the whole numbers. So any type of whole number, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not 6.5. That's not a whole number. You get the idea. And their opposites. That would be like negative numbers. So it'd be like -1, -2, -3, -4. Not -4.5. That's not a whole number. And 0. 0 is neither positive nor negative, but it is still part of the integers. So pretty much integers are numbers on a number line. So here we go. We are going to work through this here. We need to order the following integers from least to greatest. Now, the best way to do this is to imagine a number line. So I'm going to draw a number line. See how this goes here. We'll get our arrows on each side. Woo! Went a little far there. We're going to put 0 hanging out here. And we know the numbers to the right. We got our 1. We got 2. We have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I've kind of run out of room. So we'll just go to 7 for now. That side's easy. The other side, when we go from 0 towards our negatives here, we're going to go to -1. Then we got a -2. And then we're going for -3. And then we have -4, -5, -6, and -7. Beautiful. A number line. Whew. Those are tough to draw. Okay. So for our first one, we want to order the following integers from least to greatest. We want the smallest number to the biggest number. Now be careful, that's tricky because of the negatives. So always use your number lines. Looking at these numbers, we want to find which of these numbers is furthest to the left. Furthest to the left on this number line, because these are the smaller numbers over here. So these are the least numbers or the smaller numbers over here. And over here are the bigger numbers, or the greatest numbers of all. Okay. So if we look at our list here, if we look, we actually have this smallest number in our list. If we look, it's right here, -7. So that is our first one. That is the smallest number, is -7. The best way to do this is to make sure once you've used that -7, cross it out. We don't want to miss a number. And if you don't cross them out as you go, you might miss something, or you might duplicate something and put it on there twice. Okay, so we have our -7. Now if we're going through next, do we have any -6s? Oh, look, we do. We have a -6 right here. So we're going to put that one next, -6. Do we have a -5? We have a +5. Not what we want. Okay, keep moving. We have a -4. Yes, we do right here. So we have our -4. That will go next. Now notice it's just least to greatest. So our negatives kind of look like they're getting smaller, but we're we're getting less negative, which is very weird. So we're moving towards our positive number. So just kind of think of that number line and just go in order of the number line. That helps. All right, the next one, we have, let's see, a -3 in there. We have a -3 right here. That goes next. And then we keep going in order of our number line. Do we have a -2? No. So we keep moving. Do we have a -1? Yes, we do. Right here, right here. We have a -1. 0. Once we get to that 0, everything else is easy, all right? It's those negatives that are tricky, so watch out for them. Because at this point, I know that you know it goes 0 and then 1, 2, 3. 5, don't forget the 5. See, I almost forgot it, so make sure you're taking your time. You're going in order, okay, so we had our 0, we have 1 in there. We have 2 in there. We have 3. And we have 5. Oh, notice I did not cross off the 3, so then it might be like, oh, I have an extra 3. No, there was only 1. I just forgot to cross it off. My size work. Okay, fixed. So keep in mind, you don't have to draw a number line for every single problem. Draw one number line and then use it to go in order from least to greatest every time. All right, so we can still kind of use this number line for our next few problems. All right, here we go. Now again, if you want to write it and draw it, that's fine. If you want to type it, that's fine. At this point, if you want to write it on a piece of paper, take a picture of it, send it in, that's fine too. Up to you. I'm going to draw because I'm liking it today. But I'm going to change to blue for these ones. All right, so we look for our smallest number. Now be careful. Some of you might be like, oh, 0's small. All the negatives go before 0. So we need to take care of all of our negatives. So we need to take care of this -12, this -6, this -2. Now some of you might be like, okay, -2 is the smallest. No, be careful. -2 is actually closer to 0. And if we look back up here at our number line, -2 is pretty big for our negative numbers. So we need to look for the one that's furthest to the left. So the absolute value of that number is going to be large. So we're looking for that large absolute value. So this -12 is actually our first number. And then we're going on our number line, working our way back up to the positives. So the next one would be our -6. And then we'd have our -2. Once we take care of those negatives, it's easy. Then we just got to look for, we have a 0. And then we have 2. Then we have 5 is next. Make sure you're crossing it off as you go. Then we have 8. Then we have 9. Ooh, 14 or 15? Definitely 14 and then 15. To make sure you have them all. Good to go. And if you ever want to double check, count how many numbers were here, count how many numbers are here, make sure you have the same amount of numbers and you're good. So I'm going to ask you to pause the video and try number 2 and 3 on your own. Then check back to see if you got it correct or not. If you did not get it correct, please ask questions and ask why. Message your teacher. If you did it correct, feel good. You're ready for your remote day work. Good to go. All right, here we go. So now that you've paused the video and are checking your answers here, you should have a -7 is our first smallest number. And if we're continuing on that number line, it goes -4 next. And then we have a -3, -2, -1, 0, 2, 1, 0. We have 1, and then 4, and then 5, and 10. I'm going to double check to make sure I got all of my numbers. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 numbers. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Okay, this one, we're going to start with our negatives here. So we want the largest absolute value negative number. So 30, -30, right here. -30 is first. I'm going to write it over here because I feel there's more digits this time. So we have negative 30, and then we have negative 21 is next. Working our way up to 0. Ooh, negative 12 or negative 14. Well, we want our negative 14 first here, and then the negative 12 is closer to 0. Negatives are opposites, so it's like we're going in the opposite direction. That's it for negative numbers. Then we have our 0. And then from here, it's easy peasy, lemon squeezy. 8, 10, 13, and 24. 8, 25, 15, 10. Got them all. All right. If you have any questions, let us know. This is about what you're going to do for your remote day, but this is today, even though some of you might be at home.